All right, so we're diving into SEO today.
Yeah, SEO.
And you sent over some really cool stuff on Ross Goldberg's accidental SEO program.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's making some pretty big waves.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
We even have someone who's actually put his teachings to the test, Willie Crawford.
Oh, yeah.
He's been using these teachings to rank websites
Right.
for clients paying him top dollar.
It's pretty amazing what he's doing
Yeah.
with these teachings.
Talk about real-world results, right?
Definitely real world.
Now, I'm curious about Ross Goldberg himself.
Yeah,
He's got this whole SEO guru
he
background.
does.
Initially, it sounds like he was all about, these aggressive tactics for short-term wins.
Yeah, almost like he was fighting Google, trying to game the system a bit.
Right, almost like battling those algorithms.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Google fight back?
Well, let's just say Google had the last laugh. A major algorithm update completely wiped out his business.
Like overnight?
Pretty much, yeah. He talks about a $100,000 deal that suddenly shrunk down to like 20,000.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was a big hit. Even his own website, which was ranking #1 for SEO software, vanished from the search results.
Wow, talk about a reality check.
Yeah, a harsh lesson in the dangers of those quick SEO wins.
Right. So how did this lead to this accidental SEO thing?
Well, it seems this massive setback forced him to kind of rethink his whole approach.
So instead of fighting Google, he decided to join forces.
In a way, yeah. He realized that the key is to actually align with Google's goals.
Interesting.
It's about providing genuine value to users.
Gotcha.
And then the rankings will follow naturally.
Makes sense.
That's the essence of accidental SEO.
So it's a long game kind of thing.
Exactly.
No more risky, quick tricks that could disappear overnight.
Nope. It's about sustainable strategies that will stand the test of time.
Right. And this long-term vision is something that Willie Crawford, another SEO expert, has really embraced.
He has. And what's really impressive is that he's using these teachings to get amazing results for his clients.
And they're paying him up to $2,000 a month.
Yeah. Which is pretty amazing considering he's already an expert in his own right.
Right. It shows that this isn't just some fly-by-night trend.
No, it's something that really works.
So it seems like we've got something really solid here.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
All right, so let's dig into the specifics.
Okay.
What are some of the key insights that Ross reveals in this accidental SEO program?
Well, one of the core tenets is this idea of creating really high quality content.
Okay.
But it's not just about churning out any old blog post or video.
Right.
It's about going deeper.
Deeper.
He talks about creating content that's so comprehensive someone could actually solve a problem after reading it.
So it's really about providing value.
Massive value.
Yeah.
He actually says that if you're not a little embarrassed by how much you're giving away for free, you're probably not going far enough.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold statement.
So he's advocating for a level of depth and detail that we don't usually see online.
He is. And I think that's part of what makes his approach so effective.
And is that part of this whole long-term strategy?
Absolutely. This kind of content takes longer to create, but it also has a longer shelf life. Meaning it's more likely to be shared, linked to, and ultimately rank higher for longer.
Oh, I see.
It's an investment.
So he's not just teaching SEO.
No.
It's almost like a content creation philosophy.
Yeah, he's really pushing the boundaries of what we think of as SEO.
That's something that I'm sure a lot of our listeners will appreciate.
I think so too. It's valuable information even if you're not super into the technical side of SEO.
Right. And this focus on quality over quantity.
Yeah.
It aligns perfectly with Google's mission to provide users with the most relevant and valuable information.
It does. Google wants to see high quality content, and Ross is teaching people how to create it.
Now, I remember you mentioned that Rudd had some pretty strong opinions about those who are obsessed with chasing every algorithm update.
He does. He thinks it's a complete waste of time.
Really?
Yeah, he says trying to outsmart Google is a fool's errand.
Okay.
Instead, he advocates for understanding user intent.
User intent.
What are people actually searching for?
Yeah.
What problems are they trying to solve?
So it's not just about targeting keywords.
No, it's about understanding the motivation behind those searches.
Gotcha.
And then creating content that truly addresses those needs.
So the accidental part comes from not trying to manipulate search engines.
Yeah, it's about genuinely helping people.
And in doing so, you naturally attract the attention of Google.
That's the idea. It's a bit of a paradox.
Right. The less you focus on SEO, the better your SEO becomes.
As long as you're providing real value.
Of course. So it all ties back to building a sustainable long-term strategy.
It does.
If you're constantly chasing algorithms, you're always going to be one step behind.
Right.
But if you focus on the fundamentals,
Yeah.
high-quality content,
User intent.
a positive user experience,
You're building something much more resilient.
something that can actually withstand the test of time.
Exactly. And
And
that's what it's all about.
now, this is all very promising.
It is.
And I think it's great that Willie Crawford, who's making a good living from SEO, is embracing this approach.
It's encouraging.
But let's be real.
Yeah,
Most people want to see results,
they do.
and they want to see them fast.
That's the nature of the game.
So does Ross address that?
He does. He talks about what he calls simple steps.
Simple steps.
Yeah, they're these actionable tactics that you can implement in under 10 minutes.
Okay, now we're talking.
But here's the thing. Even though they're quick to implement, they can have a significant long-term impact on your SEO.
Oh, wow.
So you get the best of both worlds.
So I got to ask, can you give us a sneak peek at some of these simple steps?
Sure.
I know our listeners are dying to hear a few examples.
Well, one of the simplest but most effective tactics is to optimize your website's meta descriptions.
Meta description?
Yeah, it's that short snippet of text that appears below your website's title in the search results. Ross suggests crafting compelling meta descriptions that really entice users to click through to your website.
Gotcha. So it's like a mini ad for your website.
That's a good way to put it. You want to highlight the unique value you offer and pique their curiosity.
Makes sense.
It's a small change, but it can make a big difference.
Simple yet effective.
Exactly. And another simple step is optimizing your website's images.
Images.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about this, but using descriptive file names and alt text for your images can really boost your search rankings.
So instead of naming an image something generic like IMG 1234,
Right.
you would give it a more descriptive name like red apple on tree.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you would include alt text that says something like a ripe red apple hanging from a tree branch.
Got it. So it's all about helping search engines understand what your images are about.
Yeah, that's the key. It can significantly improve your visibility in image searches.
And I imagine these simple steps, they're not too technical,
No, they're pretty straightforward.
so anyone can implement them.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. You don't need to be an SEO expert to start seeing those long-term wins.
This is all great stuff.
It is.
I'm really eager to learn more about these simple steps and how they fit into this whole accidental SEO framework.
Me too.
But we'll have to save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. So we've been talking about Ross Goldberg's accidental SEO and how it focuses on those long-term strategies.
Right, providing that genuine value.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that this isn't just some theory.
Right.
You know, we've got Willie Crawford. He's a real SEO
Yeah,
expert.
he's been doing this for a while.
And he's using these teachings to get results for his client.
And they're paying him good money for it.
Up to $2,000 a month.
Yeah, that's no small chunk of change.
It really shows that these strategies, they work.
They're not just some fluffy feel-good concepts.
No, they actually deliver.
And what I find interesting is that Ross doesn't shy away from the fact that these results take time.
Yeah.
He's all about the long game.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned earlier that he's a fan of content formats that are harder to create.
Yeah, things like podcasts and videos.
Right. Why is that?
Well, for one thing, they tend to be more engaging.
Okay.
People spend more time on your page.
Right.
And that's a good signal to Google.
So it's not just about engagement.
No, there's a strategic element too.
Okay, I'm listening.
Ross argues that because these formats are more challenging to create, there's actually less competition.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you have a better chance of standing out.
I see. So it's kind of like investing in a blue chip stock.
Exactly. You might not see explosive growth right away,
Right.
but it's a solid long-term investment.
So it's about building something of value that will last.
Yeah, something that will keep attracting traffic and generating leads for years to come.
And these quick SEO tricks, they're like building a house on sand.
Pretty much.
Mm.
One strong wind and it's gone.
Makes sense.
And what's cool is that Ross, he doesn't completely dismiss those quick wins.
Yeah.
He calls them simple steps.
All right, we touched on that earlier.
Yeah, things you can do in 10 minutes or less.
But they have a lasting impact.
Exactly. So you get those quick wins, but you're also setting yourself up for long-term success.
So we talked about optimizing meta descriptions
Yeah.
and image alt text.
Right?
What are some other examples of these simple steps?
Well, one that he really emphasizes is internal linking.
Internal linking.
Yeah, so it's basically just linking to other relevant pages on your own website.
Okay, so if I'm writing a blog post about, let's say, apple pie recipes,
Yeah.
I might include a link to another post on my site about the best types of apples for baking.
Exactly. It helps users navigate your site and find more information.
Okay,
And it also helps Google understand the structure of your content.
makes sense. It's something you can do while you're creating or editing content.
Yeah, it's super easy to implement.
So it's a quick win with long-term benefits.
Precisely.
Are there any other simple steps that he recommends?
Oh, yeah. Definitely one that he stresses is making sure your website is mobile-friendly.
Mobile-friendly.
Seems obvious, right?
Yeah. In today's world, you'd think so.
But you'd be surprised how many websites still aren't optimized for mobile devices.
And Google has said that mobile friendliness is a ranking factor.
Absolutely.
So it's more important than ever.
And there are tools you can use to test your website's mobile friendliness.
Okay.
And identify areas for improvement.
So it's another quick fix that can make a big difference.
Exactly. It impacts your search rankings and the user experience.
So a lot of these simple steps,
Yeah.
they're about getting back to basics.
Yeah.
It's not about trying to trick Google.
Right.
It's just about making sure your website is well-structured, easy to navigate.
And accessible to everyone.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that Ross, he doesn't present these simple steps as some sort of magic solution.
Yeah.
He emphasizes that they're part of a larger strategy.
Right.
That's focused on creating a high-quality, user-friendly website.
Yeah.
This whole accidental SEO philosophy, it's starting to click for me.
Yeah.
It's not about gaming the system.
It's about aligning your goals with Google's goals.
Providing valuable content.
A positive user experience.
It's all connected.
And I think one of the reasons people are drawn to Ross's approach is that it takes some of the stress out of SEO.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, you're not constantly worrying about algorithms or Google updates.
Right.
You're focused on building something sustainable.
Something that will actually benefit you in the long run.
Exactly.
That sounds pretty appealing.
It is, especially in today's fast-paced world.
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear someone advocating for a slower, more deliberate approach.
And I think that's why we're seeing more and more SEO pros like Willie Crawford embracing this philosophy.
They're realizing that slow and steady wins the race.
Especially when it comes to SEO.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to go back to something we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Those common SEO misconceptions that Ross debunks.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype.
Definitely.
Or fall for those outdated tactics.
And Ross, he does a great job of cutting through all that noise.
Getting to what really matters.
Exactly.
So let's bust some myths.
Okay.
What are some of the most common misconceptions about SEO?
Well, one of the biggest ones is that SEO is all about keywords.
Okay.
People think you need to stuff your content with as many keywords as possible.
Yeah, I've seen websites that are practically unreadable because they're so keyword stuffed.
Exactly. It's like they're writing for robots, not humans.
And Ross says that's not how it works anymore.
No, Google's algorithms are much smarter now.
Right.
They can understand context and intent.
So instead of focusing on keyword density,
Right.
what should we be doing?
Ross encourages people to think about what their audience is searching for.
Okay.
And then creates content that naturally incorporates relevant keywords.
So it's about understanding your audience.
Yeah.
And providing them with the information they're looking for.
Exactly.
Now, another misconception that I've heard is that SEO is a one-time fix.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
People think they can just do SEO once and then forget about it.
And then just watch the traffic pour in.
But it sounds like that's not how it works at all.
Not even close. SEO is an ongoing process.
Okay.
It requires constant analysis, adaptation, and refinement.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing?
Definitely not. The digital landscape is always changing.
Right.
What works today might not work tomorrow.
So it's more like tending a garden than building a house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to nurture it, prune it, make adjustments as needed.
To keep it thriving.
Precisely. And I think this highlights another important point, which is SEO is not just about rankings.
Right.
It's about building a sustainable online presence.
That will benefit your business for years to come.
Exactly.
Now, this has been incredibly insightful.
It is.
I feel like we're really starting to understand this accidental SEO approach.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to the accidental part.
Okay.
How does Ross define that?
Well, I think the accidental part comes from the idea that you're not intentionally trying to manipulate search engines.
Right.
You're not obsessing over keywords or gaming the system.
So you're not trying to trick Google.
No, you're simply creating valuable content, providing a great user experience, and building a solid online presence.
And by doing those things well,
We naturally attract the attention of Google's algorithms.
and improve your search rankings.
Exactly.
So it's like you're accidentally stumbling into SEO success,
By focusing on what really matters.
your audience, and their needs.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes Ross's approach so appealing.
It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
You can focus on what you do best.
Creating great content and connecting with your audience.
This is all fascinating stuff,
It is.
and I'm eager to dive into some more specific examples of Ross's strategies. But for now, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll wrap up this deep dive with some final thoughts and actionable takeaways for our listeners. So we're back, and I gotta say, this accidental SEO thing has really got me thinking.
Yeah, it's a pretty compelling approach.
It's not about those quick tricks that fizzle out.
Right. It's about building something that lasts.
And we've seen how Willie Crawford's been killing it with these teachings.
Oh yeah, he's getting incredible results for his clients.
And they're paying him top dollar for it.
Which proves that this stuff isn't just some theory.
Right. It's a real deal. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think the main thing to remember is that SEO doesn't have to be this constant battle with Google.
Okay.
It's not about trying to outsmart them or predict their every move.
We're not playing chess with the algorithm.
Exactly. It's more about understanding what Google actually wants.
Voices.
To provide users with valuable information and a positive experience.
So we focus on that.
The rankings will follow naturally.
It's about building something lasting,
Yeah. Something that can handle those changes in the digital world.
like a solid foundation.
Exactly. And that foundation is built on things like high-quality content,
Right.
a deep understanding of what users are searching for,
User intent.
and a commitment to making the user experience as smooth as possible.
So instead of chasing those SEO fads,
Right.
our listeners should focus on creating valuable content that really solves problems for their audience.
Exactly. Meet their needs, provide real solutions.
And remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
It takes time and effort to build a strong online presence.
But it's worth it in the long run.
Absolutely.
Now, here's something for everyone to think about.
Okay.
If seasoned SEO pros like Willie Crawford,
Yeah.
who are already successful,
Right.
are embracing Ross's teachings,
Yeah.
maybe it's time for all of us to rethink our approach to SEO
Maybe it's time to shift our focus away from those quick fixes.
and start building something more sustainable.
Something that will benefit our audience in the long term.
That's a great question to consider as you continue on your SEO journey.
It is.
And we hope this deep dive is giving you some valuable insights and inspiration along the way.
We hope so.
Thanks for joining us.